Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the West Ham Massive, and thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are new around here. So don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. All these things are free for you to do. They take a couple of seconds of your time, and they help to grow the channel from its current base. Thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. We do appreciate it. So we are here to discuss, as I promised you yesterday when we did the third round draw. I said nothing about the match. I said I'd save it to today. Carabao League Cup, call it what you want, Milk Cup, Rumbelows Cup, round 2. We played the Cherries. We played mighty Bournemouth at London Stadium in front of just over 47,000, I believe. I was intending to go. I'll be honest with you, and some of you watching may have been yourself in the stadium. Some of you may have watched it on the wonderful World Wide Web or on the telly, whatever. I was sort of umming and ahhing about whether to go. It was my first week back at work. I'd had a fortnight off of work, and I wasn't too sure what I would need to deal with in the job that I do, in the role that I have at my company. So I didn't know how much time I'd have. So I sort of waited around and waited to see whether I would be in a position. I was always also waiting for one of my sons to tell me whether he was in a position to go. He didn't in the end. So in the end, it got to about 5:30, and I tried to book 2 tickets, one for me, one for one of my sons, and we was going to head on over to Stratford. Now, as fortune had it, or maybe not, depends upon your point of view, I went on the West Ham website and there was some glitch with it. I couldn't get tickets. And I actually now think in hindsight, being perfect vision, I actually think that wasn't a bad thing with what I witnessed yesterday. Because number one, I saved myself 20 quid. I saved myself several hours of my time getting there, getting back, the expenditure that would entail. To watch a game that, quite frankly, from what I observed on the telly, had all of the interest, all of the excitement of a conversation with my mother-in-law. Sorry, but it was that bad. I'll tell you what, let's add this to proceedings. I've got this little presentation that I've knocked up. I like to do these little things to make this seem a little bit more professional, and I hope you appreciate that. Let's just have a little look at see who's in the comments. Usual, hope you are well. I don't want to sort of like leave you guys in the chat wondering when I'm going to refer back to you. So hello, everyone. Colin, hope you are well. Adrian, yes. The sarcasm in that comment is seeping through, but I couldn't have put it better myself, Adrian. Thanks for joining us. Sharky, yep, good evening to you, mate. And I didn't see the game, but it sounds like it was a rough watch. Rough as a badger's backside, Sharky. Rough as a badger's backside. Rough as a cat's tongue. If you've ever felt a cat's tongue, you know what I'm talking about. Cat's tongues are quite rough. Anyway, it obviously finished yesterday 1-0, as you can see there. Jared Bowen with a goal on the 88th minute to separate the two teams that up to that point had been locked into a stalemate. Not the best showing, it has to be said, of West Ham United. That there is the previous 11 matches. Now, one thing I will say is that obviously that goal from Jared Bowen, we've all seen it. There was no VAR, and I touched on this in the review that my understanding was there was no VAR. So it proved. And in the way that game unfolded, in the way that the goal occurred, for us, that was to our advantage, because I think when you look at the replays, you've got to say that if that had gone in at the other end, I'd have been asking questions. I'd have been saying, what bloody hell was going on there? That looked like handball to me. That really did look like handball. However, trying to be fair about it, trying to be sort of like try and take a positive out of a negative or whatever. If you look at the bottom of that little sequence, there's 11 matches. I know that's an odd number, guys, but that's just what I arrived upon. That one at the bottom, I'm pretty sure I'm correct in saying, and if Kent watches this at any point, I'm sure he will either agree or disagree. 26th of December 2017, AFC Bournemouth 3, West Ham United 3. I'm pretty sure that was a match that was decided by a goal right in the dying embers of the game. I'm pretty sure Bobby Madley was the referee, or was it Andy Madley? No, I'm pretty sure it was Bobby Madley. Anyway, that's not what was important. What was important was that we was 3-2 up in the dying embers of the game on Boxing Day 2017, and we conceded an equaliser right at the death. Callum Wilson with a goal, which I believe there was 2 infringements, if I remember correctly. One was that he was offside. 2 is that it was handball. There was no VAR back in 26th of December 2017, so that goal stood. We fast forward to yesterday's game, and these things, what goes around comes around, guys. I'm not trying to be unkind about it, but sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. Yesterday's game was a tough watch. It was poor. And I'll get into a few more of the reasons why I think that happened in a minute. But let's just deal with the facts of we won 1-0 in a pretty crap game, in a game that was really tough to watch, and sort of a lot of people would say, and myself included, was basically not too dissimilar to what we were served up by the previous manager. There, I've said it. Probably the only thing is that he has more possession than David Moyes did. But in terms of the entertainment value, I'm not too sure that we're seeing too much more than what we said with the previous incumbent. I'll be brutally honest. Now, I have to caveat that and say, look, it is 3 games. It was a League Cup game. There were several players that are still finding their feet at a new club. All these things. So there is a caveat to that. I have to say, though, on the opening 3 games of what I've witnessed, this is not a Pep Guardiola clone. And I never thought he was, if I'm being honest. There was a few people that had sort of tapped me on the shoulder and said, listen, if you're expecting free-flowing, expansive football, this is not the guy that's going to deliver it. Really sorry to break it to you, it's not. And I'm like, okay, fine. Tell me more. And basically what I've been led to believe, prior to a ball being kicked, before even there was a pre-season friendly that had been played, before we played that 2-2 draw in that training game in Austria against Ferencváros, I was told by someone that watched his teams quite up close, is that he's basically David Moyes, but someone that will probably play a more possession-based game than Moyes. But his teams will be very defensive in their approach to a large degree. And I was like, right, okay, that's interesting. So we're basically going to get a very similar style of football, but just a bit more possession. And that's basically the gist of it. And in the first 3 games, I'm thinking they were bang on. But yeah, so that game there, 3-3, on the 26th of December 2017, no VAR. It was decided by a handball, and it's come back round again. And this time it's Bournemouth that is bit on the arse. That was the 11 that they... look what I did there. I went to say David Moyes. What can I say? That was the 11 that was put out last night by Julien Lopetegui. And as you can see there, it was the same shape that we've seen in the previous couple of games, a 4-1-4-1 formation. A bit of a change in the personnel, however. Now, one of the changes was enforced in that originally Aaron Cresswell was going to play at left back. And then somewhere, somehow, during the warm-up, he sustained an injury. Now, I've led to believe latterly it is a hamstring injury, and it's pretty certain that he's going to at least be out of the City game. Not that he would have started, I'm pretty sure, but he would have been involved on the bench, could have been an option, depending upon how the game unfolded. That's now out the window. So, okay, that was a last-minute hitch, but this was the bit that I'm sort of looking at. And any of you guys, if you want to sort of like give me your thoughts on this, please do, because I can't work it out. He put Aaron Wan-Bissaka at left back, and I was like, what? I could have understood it if you didn't have a left back sitting on the bench. But I bring to your attention the substitutes. There he is, second from the bottom on the right-hand side of that slide. Defender, 33, Emerson. Last time I checked, he was a left back. I don't understand why the manager saw fit to put a right back at left back. Now, having said that, of course, Wan-Bissaka, in my opinion, despite the fact he was being played out of position, was the best player on the pitch in claret and blue. There we go. Our best player was a right back playing at left back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand, though, why he was there. To me, the switch was very, very simple. It was to put Emerson at left back. Instead, he's put Wan-Bissaka at left back. He's put Kufau in, because Kufau, I'm pretty sure, was the one that wasn't going to start, if I remember correctly. It was going to be Wan-Bissaka at right back, and it was going to be Cresswell at left back. And the manager made the change to say, no, we're going to move Wan-Bissaka to left back, and we're going to bring Vladimir Kufau in, right? And I just sit there and look at it and go, that doesn't make any sense to me. If any of you guys have any clue, please try and let me know what he was thinking, because I don't know. Kilman had a great game against Palace. Okay, fine. I can see what he's doing there. He's keeping the confidence high in the player. Obviously, he brings in Turgid. Now, I thought he looked okay. There was a couple of times he got forward, and he was quite high up. I got to say, for a centre back, there was one point in the first half where he was playing at right wing. It was astonishing. And Thomas Souček was dropping back as an extra centre back. It was like we had three centre backs at times when Turgid sort of like was in position, Kilman was in position, and you occasionally had it. And I kid you not, it was Thomas Souček that was dropping in. I saw it, and I'm sure any of you guys that was either watching on the telly or was actually there might have noticed this a few times, certainly in the first half when Turgid was playing, that Thomas Souček was sometimes dropping in as the third centre back. Now, that's a bit of a weird one on me, because I sit there and I go, well, hold on a minute. If anyone was dropping in, it should have been Alvarez, shouldn't it? Didn't make sense to me. Bit of a strange one. But there was a couple of times that I noticed Turgid getting quite high up the pitch. And like I say, there was a couple of times he was actually a supplementary right winger. Bit odd, but there you go. Nice touches on the ball. I thought his acceleration, there was a couple of times he got on the ball and he did this sort of like pirouette 360 and then accelerated away from the player that was facing him. I thought that showed a good bit of skill. Couple of little things that I sort of got looked at and went, not too sure. But look, it's his first start in claret and blue, so we'll wait and see. I'm sure that in future games he will look a little bit more certain of himself. We then had Edson Alvarez playing as the defensive shield. He needs to get minutes under his belt. He needs to get a little bit of match fitness, match sharpness back about him. He's obviously been out injured for a while. So he came in as the defensive shield. Then we look. Now, here's the elephant in the room. The two central midfielders ahead of Edson Alvarez. James Ward-Prowse and Thomas Souček. Now, am I shocked that Thomas Souček started? No, because I said in the match preview that when I gave my predicted 11, I actually went, yeah, I think he will probably play, whether you agree with it or not. But Ward-Prowse, now, that's the weird one for me, because I sit here and I go, everybody thinks he's out the door. Everybody thinks he's gone. Probably he thinks he's gone. I think he's gone. You lot probably think that he's going to be on his way before the transfer window shuts, right? So everybody thinks that he's on his way. And he played last night. And I'm sitting here and I'm scratching my head and going, but why? Because if he's possibly going to be someone you're going to sell, what if he'd have played last night and got an injury? Right, so there we go. So what happens then is that that's now one player that you can't cash in on. That's one player that you can't shove out the door and free up a squad place to bring in someone waiting in the wings. I don't know, maybe like a Carlos Soler or someone like that. How about that? So now that's another player that you can't move on. Now, fortunately, I believe that he didn't get an injury, but the fact of the matter is that you took a risk. And I think that that's completely ridiculous. What are you going to learn by playing James Ward-Prowse there? There's been a number of people that I've seen that have done their match reviews, and I'm going to reference two of them directly, Gonzo on Hammers Chat and Nick on Claret and Booze. And they didn't say anything that I didn't disagree with, in that is a midfield three that those component parts didn't work last season. Now, Edson Alvarez has to play, okay? That is absolutely certainty. So of these three, Alvarez has to play, right? Now, Souček, okay, I can kind of get that he's got certain elements of his game that mean that he's a useful weapon to have. And I'm not saying that James Ward-Prowse isn't a useful weapon to have, but he's, those three don't really work. There's not enough mobility. There's not enough craft. There's not enough invention. They're very samey. The three players are fairly similar in a lot of their attributes. So I'm not too sure playing those three as your central unit actually works none too much. But that's just me. I thought it was a really strange move putting JWP there. And I know what you're saying there, Sharky, just to get your comment up. You think he could be staying, and you're not convinced that he'll sign another player. And you may be correct. But the word is that we've got the deal for Carlos Soler pretty much all agreed. It's just a case of partly to do with finances, but in the main, it's to do with the fact that we need to free up a squad place for Carlos Soler to then jump in and occupy. So if the one player we could get rid of, just supposing, was James Ward-Prowse, because I'm hearing that Southampton now are making noises that they would like to take him back, possibly on loan, but whichever way it would come about, that would free up a squad place. If he was the only player to go, if it was loaned to Southampton or whatever, and then he played last night and got injured, that's that chance gone. Brilliant. So the Carlos Soler deal is gone. Now, Carlos Soler, I think, gives us the invention and craft that we could have had with last night. I think if we'd have had Carlos Soler in the squad last night, he plays in that midfield trio, somewhere in place of either Alvarez, Souček, or Ward-Prowse. I would say Ward-Prowse personally, and he gives you that little bit of invention, that little bit of craft. We didn't have any of it, and I think he took a massive risk there for me. Bowen obviously worked hard. Look, we didn't learn anything that we didn't already know about Bowen. We weren't going to. Somerville was the interesting one for me. I wanted to see something of Somerville, and I thought he looked bright in patches, but I do think that he was kind of hamstrung by the fact that he had, and this is not me to do Wan-Bissaka down, but Wan-Bissaka being a righty on the left, common sense tells you that his movement is going to be from outside to in, yeah? Which means that that's going to affect the supply of the ball to Somerville, because obviously if we're playing from back to front, the supply from Somerville is probably come from the left back, because obviously it's the player that's behind him. Makes sense? So I think that fact that Wan-Bissaka kept having to come inside, did kind of disrupt the service that Somerville was going to get. But okay, it is what it is. I still think it was a bit of a daft move putting Wan-Bissaka there. But as I say, that's not a reflection on Wan-Bissaka. That's me just saying that you put a right back at left back, and you had a left back on the bench. Anyway, Fulkrug, he got the starting berth. I thought that in truth, he had one good shot that I think got deflected and went past the post for a corner from memory. It looked like it was on its way. Powerful shot. But he didn't really offer that much. I don't think that, you know, he's basically, he looks to me like he's just basically a target man. And that's just my assessment, and that assessment may change in time, but that's what I'm seeing. He's basically a target man. So that was the West Ham 11. That's the starting 11. Obviously, you can see the subs. We had Antonio, Paquetá, Kudus, Mavropanos, Guilherme, Foderingham, Rodriguez, Emerson, and Irving. Like I say, Emerson's the one that I just look at, and I'm just baffled how he didn't start once Cresswell went off with pre-game. That was the lineup that Bournemouth put out. Not really too much to say. They played a 4-2-3-1 with Neto in goal, back four of Smith, Senesi, Hoydson, and Hill. Christie and Scott were the defensive shield pairing in front of them. You then had Sinistera left, Utara on the right, and Tavernier central playing just off of Daniel Jebison. Now, Daniel Jebison, I'm just going to give you a little bit of interesting information if anyone doesn't know who Daniel Jebison is. Daniel Jebison, whilst he was playing at Sheffield United, he was born in Canada, but he has played age grade football for England. And Daniel Jebison, when he was at Sheffield United previously, he was the player who, I just think he's still got this record. He's the youngest player to score a Premier League goal on his debut. I think I was in a chat where I said he's the youngest player to score a Premier League goal. It's not. He's the youngest player to score a Premier League goal on debut. So there you go. As I say, born in Canada, but he's got, I think, a Jamaican father, English mother, and he came over to this country at about 13 or whatever, and he has actually played age grade football for England. That was their lineup. So, you know, as I say, the game itself was a bit of a dog with fleas. Now, you can look at the stats, and I've got the stats up if anyone's interested in them. If you want to use the stats as some sort of argument, I always think you can use stats to either prove or dispel what you want it to prove or dispel. You can make it fit your narrative. Do you get me? You can look for things like, you can look and go, oh, well, we had more shots than they did. Yes, we did. You know, we had more we didn't have more expected goals. We had more shots. We didn't miss any big chances. You could sort of turn around. You could use any of these stats to prove or disprove that one team was better than the other. If we use the eye test, ladies and gentlemen, I think that Bournemouth were very, very unlucky. And I'm not just talking about the goal. Like I say, the goal had more than an element of luck. And I think if we'd have had VAR in the stadium, that goal gets chalked off. I'm pretty confident of that. Now, that Jared Bowen, it wasn't a Maradona type goal. Look, the ball is fizzed across by Kudus in the dying embers of the game, and it strikes him and flies in. Bowen's not cheated there. Let's get that out there. The ball's hit him. He's gone in the back of the net. Now, realistically, what do we expect Jared Bowen to do? Would Jared Bowen go up to the referee and say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir, but that ball seems to have struck me on the arm, and I think you'll find that in the rules of association football, that goal shouldn't count, dear boy." It's not going to happen. And let's be brutally honest, if that had been down the other end and Evan Nilsson, who came on in the second half, if that was Evan Nilsson in the 88th, 89th minute, and the ball hits him like that and flies in the back of the net, do you honestly think that he's doing anything other than running off and celebrating with his fans? Of course he is. And so, like I say, that's the truth. Sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it goes against you. We got the rub of the green last night, and as I say, those stats can paint a picture. And like I say, I have got them up there because some people do enjoy looking at the stats and drilling into the finer details. But on the eye test, ladies and gentlemen, we were very, very fortunate last night. We led a charmed life. I actually thought, like I say, a couple of telling things for me. We played at home, and our best players, in my opinion, and you may agree or may disagree, our three best players were our left back, our left-sided centre-back, and our goalkeeper. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Max Kilman, and Lucas Fabianski, in my opinion, were our three best players last night. They were our standouts. So our goalkeeper, our left back, and our left centre back. defensive players were our best players at home in a cup game against, and it's not like we were a sort of like a lower ranked team against a higher ranked team. We should be the better team, I believe. I think that's a reasonable expectation. I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation to say that West Ham United against Bournemouth at the London Stadium, and let's be honest, when I think most people looked at those starting 11s, I think most people looked at our starting 11 and went, he's gone quite strong. He's gone quite strong. And I think you then contrast that with the Bournemouth 11, and I think most people would look at that and go, he's not bothered about it, is he? I think he's gone a little bit weaker than I'd have expected. So again, not unreasonable in expectation for us to go into that and go, yeah, we should put this lot to the sword. We didn't. We were very, very fortunate as far as I was concerned. I don't think we really got going at any point. I think we possibly looked a little bit better when the substitutes came on. But I thought that we really laboured. I thought we really struggled. And I'm not quite sure. Like I say, 3 games in. As I say, I will caveat that and just say that, look, it's early days. But I can only go on what I've seen. I don't really see that this is distinctly better than what came before it. It may well improve. I'm sure it will. I hope it will. But on the basis of the 3 games that's all I've got to go on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. And as I say, I was warned that this manager, this is the way he will play. This is his default setting. He will play a defensive type of football. It will be slightly more possession than Mr. Moyes like to employ. It will be a bit more, it will be a bit less time that we're sort of like seeing our boys running around the pitch without the ball. But it's not going to be, it's not going to be Brazil 1970. It's not going to be Barcelona 2011. It's not going to be France 1998 or Spain 2012 or anything like that. It's going to be very similar to what's come before it. What can I tell you? And then, of course, and then I'm gonna reference it because obviously we get the win. The final whistle goes. As I say, the goal was a bit of a fluke. It sort of like flew in, and then this happened. We had the draw, and the first 2 balls out, wouldn't you know it, Liverpool and West Ham. Now, this I still don't fully understand, right? And maybe there'll be people in the live chat that can help me out. There are probably some more intelligent people than myself that have worked it out. But I just sort of sit there and I go, I don't understand it. Maybe it's me. Maybe someone's going to need to really sit down and explain it to me. But this draw malarkey of the Carabao Cup now, where we had this situation where 6 of the 7 European teams, right, were kept away from each other for starters. So Chelsea could, not Chelsea. So Aston Villa couldn't play Arsenal. Manchester City couldn't play Tottenham, for example. They had to be separated. And of those 6 European teams, of those 6, 4 of them got home draws. Isn't that fortuitous? Isn't that nice? Isn't that jolly good? We'll keep them apart, and 2/3 of them will get a home draw. Whoop-de-doo. And what's the reason for that? Well, it's because we've made the Champions League and the Europa League bigger. Right, okay. Why did you have to make them bigger? Oh, well, basically, it's because these teams, these very teams, a couple of years ago, threatened to jack it in the Europa League competitions. So basically, to placate them, we had to do this mucking around with the tournaments to make it bigger and make it more money and this, that. And that's the other thing. They want more money. And then you turn around and say, well, if you want more money, what we're going to have to do, guys, is we're going to have to play more matches. Oh, no, that means that I could get injuries and stuff like that. Hello. You want more money? Guess what? You're going to have to play more games. It just goes with the territory. But then, like I say, off of the back of it, you then get the League Cup turning around and saying, don't worry, what we'll do for you, you guys that basically caused this situation to unfold, the catalyst for this, what we'll do is we'll help you out. We'll keep you guys seeded. We'll keep you guys away from each other. And 4 of you guys, 4 of you 6, we'll actually give home draws to, just like that. It's fantastic. And then Liverpool comes out first. Brilliant. Who are they going to get? West Ham. Jesus Christ. Are you for real? Are you for real? I think I saw someone put on, I'm going to find it, right? There's a group that I'm on, and I didn't have this stat until they put it on. And I went, wow, that's incredible. And that's not just bad luck. There's something else going on there. Let me find it. Let me find it, because I looked and I just went, that is incredible. And that is more than just, and I can't find it now, guys. So please bear with me. It was something like, and it was to do with the teams that we've been drawn against in the last however many League Cup matches. And it was just ridiculous. And you looked at it, and I looked at this stat, and if I can find, here we go. Right. So listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, right? And I haven't fact checked this, but this message is, it says, in the last 4 seasons, we've had 9 Carabao Cup draws: Lincoln, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham, Blackburn, Bournemouth, Liverpool. So out of that little list, there's 9 teams there: Lincoln, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham, Blackburn, Bournemouth, Liverpool. 9 teams. Out of those 9 teams, 7 of them are Premier League teams, right? And 6 of those Premier League teams are the so-called Big 6. Wow. Wow. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, that's not just bad luck. There's something else going on there. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe, but bloody hell, that is ridiculous. Now you've got to ask the questions. Have we, upset someone? What have we done? Did we sort of break a mirror? Did we all collectively, 62,500 of us, go under a ladder or something? Jesus Christ. You got to be kidding me. That is ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to have a look at your comments now, ladies and gentlemen. I've been having a little bit of a rant. I wanted to get it off my chest. As I say, I saved it up from last night. We did the draw, and I was very good. I kept a lid on it, and I said to everybody, you're going to need to tune in tomorrow, because if I get it off my chest now, it makes tomorrow redundant. And I kept a lid on it, and I think I did quite well to do that. And I've now got the frustrations of both the match and the subsequent draw off my chest. So let's see what you've said. I'm the worst YouTuber. I'm not too sure whether you are. There might be some that would say that it's the very person that's responding to this message, rather than the person that submitted it. I agree, Bissaka needs to play at right back. He's nowhere near as strong, even though he was still very good. As I say, despite the fact he was played out of position, he was our best player. But I don't think he should have been there, quite frankly. Kilman and Wan-Bissaka look great for us, hoping they keep it up. Hopefully they will. Loopy Lou says, Barry, hope you're well, Barry. JW, we've already done that one. Sorry, I'll move on, Sharky. Do apologise. Suchek is great if you like playing with 10 men every match, but scores a goal every couple of games. Well, there's obviously something, because there's been now 2 different managers that have basically said he's the first pick. Maybe not said it in words, but certainly in deeds. Mr. Singleton, how are you? Play excess players in the 23s. That's one thing you could do. Barry says, Aguirre wants Madrid, needs to transfer to have a chance. He's turned down Wolves, isn't he? I heard that it's Al Ittihad, because they've got Laurent Blanc is the manager. They've got Karim Benzema, N'Golo Kante, and there was another player. I did it on the video yesterday. So basically, the point is that they all speak French, which is obviously the language that is the mother tongue of Naïef Aguirre. I'm wondering whether he wants to maybe sort of go there. But he turns around and says he wants to go to a big club. Well, I don't mean to be funny, but we got you from Stade Rennais. We didn't get you from Barcelona, mate. What the hell do you think you are? You're a half-decent centre-back, but bloody hell, you want to go to Madrid. So does everybody. I got news for you. Everybody wants to go to Real Madrid. But maybe not everybody's good enough. Sharky says, I thought it was strange that there was no VAR. I think it's weird. I think it comes in the quarterfinals. But in the FA Cup, and I know they're two different competitions, I know that. But they've got this thing, I'm sure, where if you're a Premier League club and they have VAR in the Premier League, so you have to have certain bits of kit at Premier League grounds to have VAR, you do it at Premier League grounds. Now, you could turn around and say, well, that means that you've got this competition where you've got two, essentially, you've got the haves and the have-nots, if you will. And that is true. But if you're going to use VAR, you either use VAR or you don't. But you obviously can't use it. I'm not being funny. If you had Sutton United playing Gander Green Lane, right? You're not going to have VAR at Gander Green Lane. What's the reason? Because it's a bloody non-league football ground. Or are they League Two now? I think they got relegated. I think they're back down into the Nationwide or whatever they call it, the Vanarama. Tier 5. They're not going to have VAR at Gander Green Lane because the ground is not equipped for it. So have it at the Premier League grounds by all means. I understand that, but then they don't do it in the Carabao Cup. Very odd. I think it's really weird, Sharky. Mandy, hope you are well. I'm not even too sure he'd get in that, mate. He's got ideas above his station. I think it's a load of old nonsense myself. The ladies team. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe that's what's going on there. What we got? So Barry says, Naif wouldn't make the men's team. He ain't good enough. As I say, I think he's got ideas above his station, mate. If he thinks he's going to play for Real Madrid, he's got another thing coming. I've got news for him. Everybody wants to play for Madrid, mate, but it's just not for everyone. What can I say? So Collins come in. He says he played at Aaron Wan-Bissaka at left back because he wanted to rest Emerson for Saturday. Aaron Wan-Bissaka some play time for AWB some play time for AWB will play on the right Saturday. It was to give him minutes. I get that, but I just think, and I understand that his plan was rest Emerson, give Aaron Wan-Bissaka some minutes, etc. And I understand that plans have to be changed and be fluid if you get a bit of a curveball thrown at you, which was thrown at him when Cresswell got the hamstring injury pre-match. And the sensible thing to do would be to go, look, okay, I know I originally intended to give you the night off, Mr. Emerson. Unfortunately, Mr. Cresswell here has got himself injured. So, I'm going to have to play you. What would have been the problem in starting Emerson at left back after the Cresswell injury, having Wan-Bissaka at right back, getting that game taken care of and getting straight into the flow of it, and maybe we would look a bit more fluid. Maybe Somerville would have got a bit more service. Maybe then Somerville getting more service would have got more out of Fulcrum. These things all sort of dovetail together. I don't know. Look, it's a sliding doors moment. It's all hypothetical. But I just think you've got to be prepared. You can't be sort of like, oh, okay, well, look, I get that you want to rest Emerson, but Jesus Christ, it didn't work. Naif, I think, is Mandy. That's exactly what Barry said there. Naif Aguirre, he refers to him as NF. Adrian Jebison was also third in Canada's 2023 Yo-Yo Contest. Now, that's a great little factoid, Adrian. That's a great little factoid, and it's those little things that I love. Can't spell his name. Well, mate, honestly, the previous manager couldn't even say his name, and he bloody chased him for about a year and a half and spent 35 million on him, and all he did was call him Nathan Agard. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I think that's quite disrespectful. You've spent all this money on me. You've chased me for a year and a half, and you don't know my name. Usually says, for a minute, I felt really sorry for Bournemouth, then I didn't. Yeah, I mean, look, they played better than us, I believe. They didn't play like prime Real Madrid. They didn't play like prime Brazil 1970. I do think they were the better team in the 90 minutes. I do think that the goal was fortuitous. But as I say, it's one of those where, well, once upon a time, they had a really lucky break against us and we had to take it on the chin. And now it's come round and their manager's on the touchline moaning about, oh, well, if VAR was there, yeah, and do you know what? If me granny had nuts, she'd be me granddad. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those. Barry says, then they go to the seaside, ain't all bad. Exactly that. They can go and get fish and chips on the promenade and they can sort of wander up and down. It's very nice, Bournemouth. You can't do that in Stratford so much. Pie and mash, though. We got pie and mash in Stratford. Pie and mash. They do like to be beside the seaside. They do indeed. Gatesy, we need to go back to 4-4-2. That was how best times back in the day. I'd like to see that. I really would. 4-4-2. I'm not too sure how that would work out. And there's only one way to find out, isn't there, Colin? People turn around and say that, 4-4-2 wouldn't work in the modern era. How do you know? Do you know what, Usual? I'm not even too sure, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was one of them top 6 Muppets that was involved. And as I said on the draw last night, my thing, it's my missus that says it, and she's absolutely right. Get the balls into like the machine that you have to do the national lottery. You put it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, from 1 to 32. Press the button, you get the arms spinning round, and it spits the balls out. So then there's none of this nonsense about hot balls, cold balls, indentations, raised edges, and all them conspiracy theories. You can just put them all in there, set the thing running, it spits the balls out, and you go, champion. That player goes against, or that team goes against that team, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and that's it. It's completely random. Bournemouth fans wear hankies on their heads. Fair enough. Mate, honestly, yes. And that's the answer to every single question in life. Why do things happen? Why do things not happen? It is usually, invariably tied in with money. Why do things happen? Because they will make money. Why do things not happen? Because they'll lose too much money. That's pretty much the answer to every question in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky, hope you're well. It's been rebranded the Corrupt Cup. It's strange that no one has ever mentioned the draw changes before it was sprung on us last night as if they knew of the backlash. I didn't know of it until I think it was the day before the draw. I'm with you, Ricky. It was like, what? What's this? Oh, didn't you know? I'm sure we told you. I'm sure it was in the... I missed that memo. I really did. And wear flat caps, apparently. Perhaps they would like Cornet. Get it? Yeah, I see what you did there, Barry. I like it. Let's hope the 4 away team supporters choose to boycott buying tickets, plus the 2 home teams too, and all choose to watch the games in the pub instead. Not going to happen, Ricky. It's a very nice idea, and it's not one that I don't think has merit to it, but it will never happen. And I rather suspect in your heart of hearts, you know that's true as well. Usual says, I wear a rather expensive hairpiece by Stanley of Paris. I swear you'd never notice. I'll have to sort of examine that one. We meet over at Stratford and have a pint. A Bobby Charlton, says Barry. I'm not a million miles away from that myself, mate. I got to tell you. Ricky says, I can see a scenario where we sell no one and bring in no one, and this is the squad until January, apart from Zuma. Listen, if it is, we can't turn around and say that we haven't been active. I've got to be honest with you. Whether it's a good window, we'll only really know once we've got a body of evidence to analyse it with. So once we've sort of like maybe watched us play for 10 games, maybe got into January, something like that, then I think we'll start to have a better understanding of whether the business that we've done is actually good or not, as the case may be. Ralph Coates. Now, that's interesting because no. Am I getting his name muddled up? There was a guy that used to work at a company that I was at many, many years ago, and I'm sure that was his name. I might be misremembering. As Europe is still happening in January, is the FA Cup going down the same route as the Corrupt Cup? Maybe, Ricky, maybe it is, and they're just not going to tell us until the day before the draw for the reasons that you just alluded to. Because as I say, I swear to God, I'd not heard a dicky bird about it, about all this nonsense about, oh, we're going to keep the top 6 away from everybody else, and you're going to give them away from each other, so we're going to seed it, and it's all to do with this and that, and basically what we're doing is we're getting on our knees and we're sort of pulling down the trousers of them. Yeah, okay, fine. And we're putting it on our mouth, and yeah, okay, fine, great, brilliant. Michael says the whole team was rested. It was like a pre-season friendly. What, theirs? Certainly not ours, mate. I've got to say, I thought we were pretty strong last night. Welcome along. Thanks for coming. As we did not see Antonio in the cup, will he start against Man City, or will Bowen play as our striker? Both are possible. I think we need to give Fulkrug another go, whether it's against City or not. I don't know. I'd like to see Fulkrug get another go. I'm not saying he looks like prime Ronaldo R9, but I think he needs to be given another look at. The Corrupt Cup, we got our usual draw. Yeah, as I said earlier, mate, the stats are what the stats are, and you can make your mind up whether there's some shenanigans going on. Sharky says if they did rob, then the corruption of the draw couldn't happen. Yes. Possibly why it will never happen, Sharky. But possibly why it should. Yeah, I think we're on the same page, though. That's probably what should happen. Plenty of channel flip-flopping this evening. Oh, I see. Has he been diving here, there, and everywhere? He's no channel loyalty, Michael. I'm only kidding, mate. That's the beauty of YouTube, is you can sort of dip in and out, and you can always come back, and it's there for you. So it's not a problem, mate. I will forgive you. You're trying to put some pundits out of a job. Mr. Singleton, I'd like to have that gig. I couldn't afford the pay cut. That's all I'm going to say. Pitts, hope you're well. The EFL Corrupt Cup, hashtag the fix is in. You know it. Colin says, Gatesy, we have to get at least a pacey striker. Fulkrug is so too slow. He's not blessed with pace, but I don't think that, necessarily pace is always a thing that you need to have. It depends upon your skill set. I mean, Sheringham, for example, never had pace. Great player. I know it's a different era, but there are players that can have no pace, but they'll use the other weapons that they've got, the other tools in their toolkit, to their advantage. Yes, played for Burnley and Spuds. Bastard of hair or lack of it. I'm going to look a little bit later. Thanks for that, usual. Do appreciate it. I knew the name come from somewhere. And actually, while I was thinking, after I sort of said it, it was Reg Coates, was a guy that used to work for a company I used to work for. Fulkrug will fall over and score. The winner says Barry. Ralph Coates. Yes, the name does ring a bell. I paid Jakey boy a visit with usual. Did you? Tell Jakey I said hello. I haven't seen him for a little while. Tell him I pass on me best, and I'll have to talk to him soon. Ricky says, surprise, surprise, no mention of the Corrupt Cup backlash on Sky Sports News. Well, there wouldn't be. Or talk crap this afternoon, this evening. Why would be? Half of the people that they employ are connected to these clubs. Let's be honest. You look at it. You've got Keane. You've got Ian Wright. You've got Jermaine Genus. You've got Gary Neville. Oh, hang on. There's a pattern here. There's not too many Mark Nobles. There's not too many times you see Ginger Collins. Occasionally you might see Carlton Cole pop up, but that's a fleeting thing. All it is, this lot are just full, and I apologise for my dog barking. Someone's knocked at the front door, so she's kicking off. These people are just full of players, ex-players that are just ingrained in these top 6 clubs. That's it. That's all it is. And they won't rock the boat. They won't say anything about it, Ricky. You know it. I know it. It's ridiculous. Evening, Darren. Hope you're well. For the same reason that I didn't talk about this on the draw last night, the match yesterday. I didn't talk about that directly on the draw. I'm going to dodge that question, Darren, and I'm going to answer it by just simply saying tune in to the West Ham Massives Manchester City preview, which, just in case anybody is interested, and I hope you are, because I would be a little bit miffed if people are watching me and have subscribed to the channel and are saying that they wouldn't be interested in knowing this information. We have currently got the Manchester City preview on Friday. Well, that's tomorrow, of course, at 6:30. So make sure that if you haven't done so, you've subscribed to the channel and you've hit the bell icon. And that way, when we go live, you can have a notification. You can come and join us. So I'm sure you already have, Darren, of course. But if anybody's watching, and we've got 28 people watching, and for you 28, please make sure you dropped a like on the stream, because that is really the catalyst for us to get the stuff that the channel kicks out there to people that otherwise wouldn't get it. And as I say, Darren, if you come back tomorrow, 6:30 onwards, West Ham Massive is your go-to. I will answer that question then. Right now, I'm going to give you a politician's answer, and I'm going to dodge it. Sorry. If we beat the pool, it's Man City away in the next round. Yeah, they'll probably do that. Yeah, it's like I say, when you look at what we've had previously in this cup, you got to ask questions. I remember what we beat Man City, didn't we, on penalties? And I think no, I'm misremembering. It was last season. It was Arsenal. We beat Arsenal 3-1, and everybody's going, yay! Liverpool away was the next one, and you just sat there and went, Jesus Christ, really? They'll find a way. Like I say, let's be honest, we're going to be hard pressed to get past them at Anfield. We know it, but if we did, yeah, you're probably right, Michael. Sharky says majority of pundits are Burks. Yeah, they're all top six ingrained. Like I say, all of those pundits. You look at TalkSport, you look at Sky Sports, you look at TNT Sports, you look at Amazon Prime, you look at Radio 5 Live, everywhere you look, and there are players in the main that have very, very strong connections to these top six clubs, the Man Uniteds, the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Tottenhams, the Arsenals, the Chelseas. They're all there. They're infiltrating the media, and they very, very subtly massage people's opinions and get people look over here. Look over here. No, but we want to look over here. No. Look over here. Smoke and mirrors, diversion tactics, all that bullshit. Pitts says, nice one, Gatesy. 3 players to leave ASAP, as there's still time in this window to make more improvements in the squad. I agree. I think that, like I say, I think we need to get some certain players out. I think we all know who they are. It's just the question is, the problem we've got is that we've given them such sort of like great deals to get them in at a time of need. And the example I'll use is Danny Ings. We was in a relegation battle. We needed someone to score goals. We brought in Danny Ings to do that. Now, he hasn't done that in the main, but he did do 2 goals in that season that we were struggling with relegation, that we went on to win the Conference League later. But at the time, we brought him in for the relegation struggle we was in. Now, we brought him in, and if you believe the reports, he's on 120k a week. He's got another year left of that. We're trying to kick him off out the door, and the people are turning around to him and saying, well, we'll give you 40 grand a week, Danny. Well, he's not going to take it, is he? I mean, let's put it this way, right? Let's say you are on your job and you're getting 50k a year, just suppose, and you may or may not be. Let's just suppose you're getting 50k a year in your current employment, right? And you get offered another job, you get put out of work or something happens or whatever, and then you get told you can get another job for 23. You're not going for it, are you? Unless you absolutely have to. And these Premier League footballers don't absolutely have to. So he can sit on his arse for the next however many months, and he can get the 120k literally for doing nothing. And we've got, unless we've put some sort of clause in that we can sort of go, and you're now not a West Ham player, but let's be honest, why would he sign up to a contract like that in the first place? We was in such desperation, and that's why we've got players now like Ings, like Cornet, like Zuma, like Aguirre, like James Ward-Prowse, all these players that we want to get out the door. And the problem is we've got them on such great contracts because we wanted them in. We were flashing our knickers. Come to us, come to us. And what's happened? Now we want to get them out. And they're like, no, I don't particularly want to go. Naya Aguirre, oh, I want to go to Real Madrid. So does everybody, mate. So does everybody. But guess what? You're not good enough. If you were good enough, you'd have already been at Real Madrid by the time we wanted you. And guess what? You wasn't. You was at Stade Rennais. Stade Rennais. What have they ever done? Cool. Ricky says, what's our record of long balls played in a Premiership match? I think we'll smash that versus City on Sunday. Only if we've got the ball for long enough, Ricky. I'm not too sure. I know we've seen more possession in the first couple of games. I'm not too sure we're going to see too much possession in the game on Saturday, but we'll wait and see. TalkSport and 5 Live are useless. Do you know what? But they're the only sport channels around. But I just find them so patronising. I mean, I told you. No, I didn't. Right. Okay. Right. I'm gonna slightly. I thought I'd said this on this channel. I haven't. For those of you that don't know, and I'm gonna give it a plug. Okay. Some of you may or may not know what I'm about to divulge. I help to produce a bit of content on Hammers Chat. And you may not realize this because it's not necessarily on Hammers Chat's YouTube channel. Okay. So they have a Patreon channel. You might have seen that they mention this from time to time. Now, if you are a Patreon, there is something on there called Overland and Seaword. And there's 3 of us that do it. There's me, there's Michael Levy Jr., and there is Sat. And Sat's and Michael have both got their own respective YouTube channels as well. And we're all West Ham Patreons as well. West Ham Hammers Chat Patreons. All West Ham fans. We're all in different parts of the world. Okay, so I've lost my train of thought. I wasn't where was I going to go with this? Do you ever do that where you start rambling and then you sort of get to a point you go, what the fuck was I talking about? There was a reason why I was mentioning this. It wasn't just to do a plug. It was. Oh, do you know what? Do you know what? I did that this morning. Do you know what? It's probably Alzheimer's or something like that. I'm probably in so much trouble when I get older. Because I phoned someone this morning, one of my engineers. Right, this is a funny story. I phoned one of my engineers, and he wanted to tell me something, and I obviously phoned him to tell him something. And me being polite, I let him go first. And by the time he'd finished telling me what he was telling me, I went, I can't remember what I bloody phoned you about now. It was clearly that important. And clearly what I was about to tell you guys was that important. What was it? I went down this rabbit hole for a particular purpose. Do you ever do that? Do you ever go in a room and you walk in it and you go, what have I come in here for? Why am I here? What's going on? And you walk out and you go, oh, that was it. I was coming in here to get a pair of slippers or something like that. It's ridiculous. There was a reason why I was going to tell you. As I say, it wasn't a shameless plug. There was a reason why I was going to reference it. Anyway, I might as well just go with a plug. If any of you guys aren't Patreons on Hammers Chat, maybe you might want to consider it because there is a very good extra little bit of content that you can get. And amongst it, you'll find this ugly mug looking at you doing something called Overland and Seaword with my 2 friends, Sat and Michael. But there was a reason why I was mentioning it. It wasn't for a plug. I'll have to go back and watch this, and I will jog my memory, which has probably gone to the dogs. That is ridiculous. I can't believe that's happened. Usually I'm quite coherent, and now I've completely gone. Even the ones that played for other teams only talk about the top 6 also. It's like they've been infiltrated. It's like they've been indoctrinated and hypnotized, and they're just like, you must talk about. Oh, that was it. It's come back to me. Right. Okay. So, I knew it would. So I said on the podcast that we do on Hammers Chat Patreon, Overland and Seaword, go and have a look. I turned around and said that I found something. I was listening to Talk Sport. I was driving on Saturday. I was actually going to see Michael sing, in actual fact. He's a really good singer, Michael. So we went to the Royal British Legion in Loughton. Quite coincidentally, Nick from Claret and Booze was there, as well as John and a few other people that I know. Happy Amoret, she was there. So we was all sort of having a nice little chat and whatever. But on the way there, I was listening to TalkSport, and it was Jamie O'Hara and it was Jason Cundy. Yeah, those pair of legends of football, those pair of journalistic heavyweights, broadcasting maestros that they are. Great footballing careers that they had, especially O'Hara. So anyway, they turned around and they had I'm pretty sure they had a West Ham fan on that was talking about Palace and transfers and this, that, and the other, right? And he turned, and Jamie O'Hara, I kid you not, and some of you may have listened to this at the same time I did. He turned around and he turned around to West Ham, excuse me, and referred to little old West Ham. I kid you not, quotes unquote, little old West Ham. Tottenham supporting Jamie O'Hara, right? And sitting opposite him is Chelsea supporting Jason Cundy. Didn't say a word. Didn't pull him up on it. Just, O'Hara says little old West Ham, and Cundy's like that. Cundy's like Zippy. I want to talk, Jeffrey. I want to talk, Mr. Jeffrey. No, he kept quiet, right? Kept quiet. 5 minutes later, a Leicester fan phones in. And starts talking about this, that, and the other. And O'Hara turned around about Leicester and went, "Oh, Leicester, bless them." Was it Leicester or was it Ipswich? It might have been Ipswich. I'm pretty sure it was Leicester. It might have been Ipswich, but whatever. It was one of the teams that have been promoted that play in blue. Let's go with that, right? Whatever. He turns around and says, "Bless them," about Leicester. I'm sure it was Leicester. And fucking cunt, sorry, my language. Cundy turns around and jumps straight down O'Hara's throat and says, "Oh, that's very patronising, Jamie." And I'm sitting there going, have I missed something here? Because 2 minutes ago, this chump turned around and said little old West Ham, and he never said a word. Didn't say a dicky bird. Now, all of a sudden, he's turning around and saying, "Oh, Leicester, bless them." And he can't wait to jump in. And I know Leicester aren't a top six club, but the point is that, well, you were patronising a West Ham 5 minutes ago, and that was perfectly acceptable. No problem at all. But you two chumps that have got big connections to two top six clubs, and you've got a broadcasting career simply off of that fact. Let's be completely honest. If Jamie O'Hara had a big connection with, I don't know, Southampton, and Cundy had a big connection with Plymouth Argyle, do you honestly think that they would be sitting getting a living off of Talk Sport? No, neither do I. Ricky says they're all creaming themselves over the wonderful new so-called Champions League draw that has taken place. It's all computerized now, and I'll tell you what, that's all bent. Don't worry about that. That's all bent. That'll be rigged to help people sort of get as far as they can and get as much of that as they can. It's a gravy train, mate. Don't worry about that. Darren says, "We'll tune in tomorrow for my answer." Please do. Appreciate it. Think our transfer business is done. You're right. No one will leave because of the wages. Why would they? I mean, in fairness to them, they've got a contract. We didn't presumably have a gun against our heads. They presumably didn't have a gun against their heads. It was all signed and it was all consenting on all sides. We're all consenting adults in the room. You agree to this. I've got to give you this. Fine. Sign on the dotted line. Fine. We get to a point in time. We'd like you to leave now, but I'm on 120 grand a week and I quite like it here. No. We want you out the door because we've got a player that we've lined up that's going to take your place. It's not my problem. I'm quite happy here. I'd like to pick up 120 grand a week for the next 12 months, if you don't mind, because that's what's in my contract. No. We're not going to play you. We'd like you to go. So let me get this straight. So you're not going to play me. Yeah, that's right. And if you're not going to play me and I don't go anywhere, you're still going to have to pay me 120 grand a week, aren't you? well, yeah, but we'd like you to go. No, I don't think you understand. You are contractually obligated to pay me for the duration of my contract 120 grand a week. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So, and you're saying you're not going to pay me. You're not going to play me, excuse me. You're going to leave me on the bench, or maybe you're not even going to put me in a squad. Is that right? Yeah. But I'm still entitled to that 120 grand a week. Yeah. You want me to leave? Yeah. Where do you want me to go? Well, I'd like you to go to Southampton. How much is Southampton looking to pay me? They're looking to pay you 40 grand a week. So you want me to go somewhere and they're going to play me, and you want me to go there on a third of the money, or I could stay here and do nothing and get paid 3 times the money that I'd get at Southampton. Is that what you're telling me? Well, yeah, not my problem. Get stuffed. That's where we're at. That's what we're dealing with. That's also a corrupt draw. Now it's all aimed at getting top teams to the semis and the finals. Give it 5 years, it will be the Super League. That's why this all came about. This is why the Carabao Cup now is screwed, and you've got all this nonsense where you've got 6 of the 7 European teams getting seeded in the Carabao Cup. They can't play one another. 4 of those 6 have got to be drawn at home. It's just all weighted in their direction. Sharky says, I'm on their Patreon and the West Ham Way. Are you on the WhatsApp group? Sharky, are you on the Hammers Chat WhatsApp group? Because if so, then you and I have probably crossed paths on there and I don't even realise it. Bless you, Grams. You've been talking to Shortstack, haven't you? You've been talking to my friend, Happy Hammerette. Don't call her Kerry. She gets the right hump with that. Did I just say that out loud? I'm terribly sorry. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm very sorry. Sorry. Zippy coming out. Ricky says, Villa are in the Champions League, but you never hear their fans singing, we are Premier League champions. So might as well tell it is the Super League. You're right. You're right. More fault for you, listen. I know, mate. What can I say? But they just wind me up. And I need something to rant out, I guess. Listen, Sharky, maybe shell out for a couple of tiers up. I'm not too sure when. I don't know if it's mild addicts or addicts when you can get our particular bit of content. But what's the worst that could happen? It's a couple of bob extra. You could do it on a trial, and you could always drop down if you think we're crap, can't you? But have a look. Maybe so. Look, I'm drumming up a bit of custom for them. I'm not on an earner out of it. It doesn't affect me directly. But there are a couple of good lads, Gio and Gonzo, over at Hammers Chat. I like them a lot. And they gave me the opportunity to do something for them, so I jumped at it. And so if any of you guys are subscribers on to Patreons, or excuse me, on Hammers Chat, then you'll find us over there. And if you don't, then maybe consider it. If you listen to this and you think, actually, I want to see a little bit more of this, then that's where you're going to find a little bit more. You're also going to find me. I'm also doing a few bits and pieces on the West Ham Network. You might have noticed. Who little Kerry? Don't call her little. She gets the right She was wearing on Saturday. She was wearing like. Is it platforms or high heels or whatever? Obviously, us blokes don't wear that. Trainers, pair of flip-flops, slippers, whatever, bare feet. She's wearing these fucking, excuse me, these high heel things. She was still a short ass. I still thought she was kneeling down or she was in a hole or something. So football is replete with cliches, stereotypes and tropes, while every supporter's aspirations are predicted on biases. You're probably right. Champions League draws just finished tonight. Yeah, my son, I've got no interest in it. It's a load of old nonsense. Please do, Sharky. Please do. She's not little. 4'3" is big to her. Well, we're all the same size lying down. That's what she tells me, Michael. That's what she tells me. Right. Okay, guys, there's 35 of you that are watching right now. Could you do me a favor right now? All 35 of you, get your mouse on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, if you're watching somewhere else, pop over to YouTube, right? Do me a favor. When you get there, there'll be a little icon somewhere below where you can see my ugly mug. And there's a thumbs up, right? Now, if you click that, what happens is that tells those lovely people at YouTube Towers that this content's half decent. And what it will do, it's really clever. It knows who supports West Ham or who's interested in West Ham, and it will push this content in their general direction, right? And then those people get to watch this that otherwise wouldn't have done, and they'll go, oh, hang on, what's this? The West Ham Massive? Oh, right, okay. And they press play, and they see me rabbiting on, and they'll go, oh, go on then. He's asking me to subscribe. I feel sorry for him. His meager channel. I'll click subscribe, and brilliant. It all starts with the thumbs up, guys. And I know a lot of people think that, yeah, I'll get round to it in a minute. Mañana. Trust me, tomorrow never comes. Yeah. So do us a favor, put it on now whilst you're watching this right now. There's 33 of you, so 2 of you have cleared off. The rest of you, drop a like on it, right? And make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you subscribe because at 6:30 tomorrow is the Manchester City preview. And as I say, we've already had, I think it was you, Michael, wasn't it? No, was it? No, it was Darren. Sorry, Darren. Do apologise. Getting you two. Listen, you two look like you were separated at birth. I will answer that question and many more besides on the West Ham Massive, on the Manchester City preview. Tomorrow we start at 6:30. Make sure you are there. Thank you, Barry. You are an absolute gentleman, and I will get you a beer when I see you at London Stadium. Obviously, you are at something of an advantage because you know what I look like and I don't know what you look like. So if you do see me wandering around, or indeed any of you, please don't be afraid to tap me on the shoulder. And if I give you a puzzled look as if to say, who are you? But I say, bear in mind that pretty much all of you are names to me, and I'm pretty sure that you're on your birth certificate. It doesn't say usual suspect, and you haven't. This is like your wrestling name. This is like Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hulk Hogan isn't really Hulk Hogan. If anyone in the chat sort of like this is revelation to, his name's Terry Bollea. So anyway, you're assuming he hasn't already. Absolutely. Look, I'm going to disappear, right? But do me a favor. Usual thing. I've been rabbiting on for a little while now. I've had a little bit of a rant. Certain things I get a little bit articulated about and passionate. And then I start talking about something like happened earlier. And then I went, why did I start this conversation? And then I sort of backtracked. I got where I got there in the end. It gives you a little bit of comedic value. It wasn't expected. It is what it is. But guys, as I say, do me a favor. Please, make sure to drop a like on the stream. Comment on it. If you're watching this latterly, so make sure you put a comment in the section below. Share the stream onto your Facebook, your Twitter, your Insta, whatever. That all helps as well. Make sure you click subscribe on the YouTube channel. That doesn't cost you anything. People think subscribe, there's a cost element to it. There isn't. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. You'll be notified of new content. All these things take you a couple of seconds, just like my sex life. They're free to do, unlike my sex life, and they help grow the channel. I probably could make another joke at this point about things growing. I'm going to leave it there because my wife's sitting over there and she's probably going to throw something at me. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. Guys, thanks for joining us. It's been a blast. Don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. Come on, you Irons. We're going to beat City. You know it. We're going to pull it off on Saturday. We're going to be prime Barcelona 2008 to 2011. We're going to rip them a new one. Erling Haaland, pa!
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!